We bought another transmission from Lincolnton, another guy, not from Met's Vets. We got this short tail turbo 350 yesterday. Thank you, sir, for leaving this out for me. We bought another transmission off Facebook Marketplace for $100.
That's full. Excuse the laundry basket, guys. It's time for me to go home today, but we got
transmission off Facebook Marketplace for $100. TH350. Look, guys, get out there and start learning some mechanic stuff. Start flipping some motors. Start doing something with your life. You know, quit off. I'm serious.
We got us a core and one going out to a customer today.
That one's going out to a customer today, and another one on the bench ready to go. Got 2 in the floor ready to go. We're killing it out here, and I just want. Got a lot going on in life.
Keep hammering.
Driving me nuts. Just got to keep hammering. You think that core's gonna be good?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously got something wrong with it. Hopefully.
Looking for that pump.
Hopefully. That's the main concern.
But for $100, dude.
You just hope for that it was a small problem,
right?
That it hasn't imploded.
That we can flip around and.
I got pretty decent hopes for it. I mean, it doesn't look like anything catastrophic has happened on the outside. It seems to be in pretty decent shape.
We ain't playing today. Finally getting some money back in. Nice house, bud. Thanks for the good deal, sir. Now we're gonna go home and make a quick 1,500.
Yes, sir. Dr. Becker.
So we are gonna be tearing into this Jewel today to see what's wrong with it, and then I've got my other transmission there on my bench that I'm going to be doing a full-on stage 3 build video for you guys. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to build that stage 3 for the customer. He's got 650 horsepower in a big block, so he's wanting to do a lot of burnouts. 700 R4 can't handle it, and I mean, if you've got $5 grand to put to a 700 R4, that's fine, but this guy don't have $5 grand to put into a 700 R4. So, and then they still end up breaking. So, let's get this thing on the bench, and let's see if this pump's good. If this pump's good, I'll be a happy camper today. Got these 2 on the floor ready to go. That's a core. Got this 4-wheel drive almost done. This guy's coming tomorrow to pick this up, so I'm waiting on my gaskets from TranStar. And we've got a bunch of 68 RFEs, a couple 48 REs there to do. Yeah, this has been cream of the crop lately. Here's the case from the last video. This was the other one we got for $133. We bought 4 cores for $400, so I was like, well, that's 33 a piece. That's why I put it on there like that. You guys are like, that's such a weird number. It's like, you got a lot of views though. 13333. Alright guys, good morning to you. We just got back from Lincolnton, North Carolina with this Turbo 350. We're going to tear this thing down today, and like I said, like I promised, this next video that I do is going to be that stage 3 over there that we just tore down on the last video that I posted 2 days ago. It's funny, we got this transmission from the same location, kinda, same city, different guy. So Lincolnton looks like it's been a hot spot for some Turbo 350s and some Corvettes and some 700 R4s. And a couple 400s too we've got from there. Anyway, on a serious note, guys, let me touch on something just a second. I feel like I have a responsibility to go ahead and get this out. My name is Tyler Jackson. I'm the co-owner here at FSP Transmissions. I think I've been called to try and re-educate the population on mechanic work and try to get the younger generation motivated to do some sort of work. All I see these days is lazy individuals doing absolutely nothing with their hand out. And that's what's inspired me to make these videos, to try to show some of these kids that this stuff can be fun, this stuff can be unique, this stuff can be beneficial to your health, your mental health, your pocketbook. But you can't do anything in life without hard work. You've got to work hard and then reciprocate all of the hard work that you put out. You can't just be like, oh, well, I think I'm a good person, so give me this. It doesn't work that way in life, my friend. You've got to get out, you got to find you some transmissions, you got to go find you some lawnmowers, you got to go find your passion, if you will. Find your passion and run with it. My passion is making money. I love making money. Whether it's flipping transmissions, flipping lawnmowers, building engines, building transmissions, selling antique bottles, doing landscape work, you name it. I'm out here making money. So this is my honest outward projection to you younger guys. Get out there and make something of yourself, man. I made so many excuses when I was younger. I'm 27 years old. I wish I would have started this at 18, because all the money that I would have had, I would have been so successful at 24 or 25. Unfortunately, my life didn't unfold that way, and I don't hate myself for it. I believe I've learned everything that I needed to through those hard times, and it's really the darkness that brings the light. You do have to embrace that darkness just a little bit in order to receive some of the divine light that God provides for you. Anyway, enough chitter chatter. I just wanted to let you guys know what team I am on. I'm on the masculinity side. I'm on the do good, work hard, don't snake anybody mentality. So that's where we are at FSP Transmissions, and you're going to see a whole lot more of that attitude on some later videos. So our case here is not cracked at all. There is no big cracks or scratches or anything. Just a little bit of dirt there. Nothing too much at all. The pressure washer will take all that off the case. Over here we got some little rust on the cap, which is normal, and just some dust residue there. That'll blow right off with the pressure washer. We don't have a speedometer here today. Input shaft's not too rusty, stator's not too rusty, pump body's a little bit rusty, but that's okay, that's normal. Not a whole lot of oil residue there. This thing looks really nice. Let's get into this thing, guys. This is your speedo gear here. It's held on by a little clip. You got to push the clip down and then get in behind a little screwdriver. I just like to pop it free there. There you go. And there's just speedo gear there. It broke on the speedometer. It must have he must have had it shoved in there a little too far. This is your modulator, and it's held on by this little clip here, and there's a 1/2-inch bolt. Then remove your modulator and get a seal pick. This is your modulator stem back in here. You got to pull it out with a little seal pick. Beautiful. And there is a small seal right here. And this is your accumulator. There's a snap ring right in here embedded into the case. You got to get in behind it with a seal pick. There you go. Once it's exposed, you can get a flathead in behind it and just pry it out. Now you can use the same flathead at 6 o'clock, then twist and pull up. There's a spring, and here's your accumulator piston, and your seal. Moving on to the governor here. Remove that retainer and get in behind this little lip with a flathead and just pop this cap off. Now, if your governor works properly, this valve will move inside of this bore. I hold it with a plastic, and these are all plastic gear. Now you can see that moving up and down. That is a good functioning governor. Let's flip this thing over. Oh man, it's purple. It got hot. Man, this thing has gotten hot, son. When that fluid turns purple like that, that means it's gotten really, really, really hot. Honestly, I'm a little bit scared. Normally I'm not, but man, I don't like when I don't like when that fluid's purple. If you're lucky, you get a drain on your pan. You can drain it while it's in the vehicle. That's always the best, but when you're buying random cores like this out of freaking random garages and random forests, it's hard to, you know, $100 is pretty much $100. You get what you get. Oh wow, check it out. There's a stink bug and a centipede down there hanging out. Looks like they've had a grand old time together. Boy, it's got a lot of clutch pack material in there in the bottom. Nothing hard though. There is a small piece. Nope, that's a ladybug. Check it out. We got the Three Musketeers hanging out in the freaking pan. Cool deal. The gang's all here. Well, I definitely haven't been the only one this transmission. Looks like the stink bug, centipede, and ladybug over there gave it their best shot, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong with this 350. Now, you've got two flatheads that hold this filter on, and I bet this filter is going to be freaking caked. And there's a little gasket under it. Oh no, not that bad. Okay. I wonder if he bought this off somebody, put it in, and just burn it up really quickly. We'll see when we get in here. Now this bolt right here was loose. Could have had some cross leaking here. And this is the biggest area without a bolt in the transmission. You've got a gap there, gap here to here, and then here to here. This whole section isn't bolted down. Could have had a cross leak there. Perhaps not. Maybe I'm being just a little pessimistic. But it was loose, so. And go ahead and pull your bolts out of your valve body so you don't lose them. I'll do the one here. Now your S-link on top you want to take out right here with your manual valve. And it smells like this thing's had some water in it too. Pull that S-link out and put this detent line where you can easily find it. Let's flip this valve body over. Take this last bolt out. Now I like to go in with a seal pick and make sure that my valves are all moving. That one feels like it's got an aftermarket pressure regulator spring in it. This is your pressure regulator valve. This is your 1-2 shift valve. That looks good. This is your 2-3 shift valve. That looks good. Passing gear, good. Manual low, good. We're gonna block manual low off. Now what I like to do here, I like to get my valve body, and now you can see there's little holes here that I'm pointing at, here, 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 and here. Now, the little pins hold these aluminum sleeves in place. So we need to flip this over and we can press on the sleeves. They are pressurized, so they're supposed to move back and forth. A lot of times they'll get hung up from these needles being in there for too long, or they're walking side to side and they'll mark it up. We'll see if this thing is going to be nice to us today and get these valves out pretty easy and show you what they look like. Flip your valve body over. I'm just using an old direct drum. Now you can, I like to hold it like this and then just push in on that aluminum sleeve. Sometimes they get hung up, so I'll take my ball peen hammer and just tap them just a little bit. Just tap them just a little bit. Now they're going to fall out just like that, so make sure you have something here to catch these needles or pins or whatever you want to call them. No worries. We're not going to get into an argument over what these are called. A lot of you guys focus more on the name of the part than the actual transmission. It's just like, dude, BPO, BOP, it's the same thing. Buick, Oldsmobile, Pontiac. And we're going to wiggle that one back and forth. We got that one out. Bam. There's our manual low valve. And we're going to flip this back over. We still need to get this one out of our pressure regulator valve. We're going to keep tapping on it. There he came there. Alright, now you should have 4 needles out altogether. You can now flip your valve body back over. You want to get in behind your valve like how we tested when we first took it off the transmission and apply pressure to it. Looks like this pressure regulator aluminum sleeve is going to be a booger, so I'm going to have to do that onto my piece of equipment there. But perhaps we can get the 1-2 and 2-3 shift valve to pop out. There we go. Here's your 2-3 shift valve. They should come out nice and easy. Now you have a little spring in the bottom of this. Put that where you don't lose it. Same thing here with your 1-2 shift valve. This one can be a bit of a booger as well. This one seems to be being nice to us today for the video. So thank you 1-2 shift valve for your cooperation. Same thing here, you got a valve on top and you got a spring in here. And don't tell me to wear gloves because they just break. Okay guys, I was able to pop the end of that aluminum sleeve out, so we're going to attempt to keep walking it out here nice and easy. This thing does not feel good right here. It is not happy with us, and it does not want to come out. Nice and slow. Don't be aggressive with it because you'll end up nicking part of that aluminum sleeve and it'll be even harder to get it in there. Just keep walking it out. Now I do have another one of these, so I am going to get the pliers on it here and walk it out, but I do have another one. Do not do this if you plan on reusing this aluminum sleeve. Now this is a floating valve that's in here. This goes in just like this with this tit up. So pull that out, and then there's another one down here. And this is non-directional, this goes in either way. We are going to discard this aluminum sleeve. I do have more, and I can find more. But if you're trying to reuse something like that, I'd never, ever, ever use vice grips or pliers on anything aluminum. You're just asking for that to go in there and not ever come back out. Okay, our pressure regulator valve, 1, 2, and 2, 3 shift valve, manual low valve is still in the valve body. I just like to flip this thing over and up like this. You're going to have a spring for your pressure regulator valve, and then your 1, 2 shift valve does have a spring as well. There we go. Manual low valve finally fell out. Now your 1, 2 shift valve is smaller than your 2, 3 shift valve. And this is your pressure regulator spring. Somebody's put a stiff spring in there. So these two can be reused. Manual low, you can reuse that as well. Now you can use a clamp on this. I have a foot press here I'm going to use. This thing will spit back at you. So just be wary of that. It'll spit right back out of here. I like to put some pressure on the right side as I press down. Now, I don't put a seal pick in here. I use a very small flathead screwdriver to get into the opening of the E-clip and then rotate counterclockwise off. Now, don't lose that. These things are about as rare as bird's teeth. Pop that back up. There's a spring under here. There is some fluid in behind this piston as well. Next, we have our support plate for our separator plate. Sometimes you get lucky and can pull them right off. Nice. Now your 69s only have one of these holes. You got to be wary of that. Be very aware. Looks like some grease still in here from somewhere. Maybe they rebuilt this and it just burned up really quick. Man, we're finding some weird spots here. This gasket's brand new. Somebody's cleaned that up before. This is your servo for your band here. There is a washer under this that has to go back on. And I just dropped it in the floor. No worries. This slides over just like that. Now this end, this well faces up. And pull this out. Spring, you get your spring retainer. There's your washer there still on it. And there's your pin that goes in there. That pushes the band down onto the direct drum. There's your parking gear bracket there, and then we're going to take your selector arm here loose with 11/16 wrench. And those are 9/16 on the laters and 1/2 inch on the early version 350. Pull that back. Get in here this nut. That's 11/16. Looks like somebody's done their due diligence and Loctited this. Always Loctite these when you go back in. There's been some horror stories of that manual valve floating open while the vehicle's still on the ground. It pops out of park and the vehicle has lurched forward before and pinned somebody up against the wall. I've heard it a couple times, so just be wary of that when you guys are rebuilding these. Always Loctite this nut. You can pull this little clip out from behind it. Keep wiggling on it. There we go. Should be able to get her finger on it now. And pull your arm out. Here's your bracket. Parking lever. Now don't get this on the threads. Get it in behind it. It should pop out pretty nice for free. There we go. Just like that. Now there is a seal in behind here. Pry in there and pop that out. And where'd it go? Yep. It goes into the case there on that side. Now you can get a screwdriver in behind that bottom pressure plate there and pry out. And pull your pump out here. And we did already check the in play. This band is locked into the case down here. Get you a screwdriver to pry out, and then you should be able to pull your drums out. This washer sticks to that forward input drum, so just be wary of that. Make sure that goes into your parts basket and doesn't get lost. Now you do have this brass washer here, and there is a snap ring in around that output shaft on this planetary. See if we can pop this thing off today. Come on now, baby. Got it! Maybe that'll look good on slow-mo, but there it is. And this planetary should pull right out. Sometimes they'll get stuck. Get you a little tool to get in there, and you can tap on it lightly. There we go. And that breaks free just like that. This is your sun shell. Your sun gear is snap ring and placed inside of that shell, so you don't have to take that loose. We always replace those bushings though in there. And this is your center support. Screwdriver here to get in behind this snap ring and then pry it out. You should be able to get your finger in there. Bam! Pop it free just like that. Now this has an anti-clunk spring. Sometimes you can... Nice. Case lugs are okay, probably. And get your anti-clunk spring here out of your puddle. Now you'll need your low reverse spring compressor here that locks into the case, pushes down on this spring perch. You can get this snap ring out so you can get your low reverse piston out of there. Now I'm going to attempt to get this low reverse spring tool in here. With this transmission being on its side, it's a little bit difficult, but our opening for our snap ring down there is at 9 o'clock if we're looking at it this way. So let's see if we can get this thing right in the very middle. Apply a little bit of pressure. We'll get our screwdriver in there. Now you want this right in the center, just like that. You can press down on this. Now this thing does have the individualized springs, so this is going to be a bit of a mess. Pop the snap ring off, and we're going to get all of our springs out of here. I'll probably go back with a one-piece spring perch, but it's no problem. There's a snap ring. Here's our spring perch cover. There's all of our springs in the bottom. And you pull them out one by one. Now we need to get our air hose next. Oh yes, there's still assembly grease here in the bottom of this transmission. Wow, this thing burnt up super quick. Somebody did something wrong, that's for sure. Okay, so far so good. No catastrophe. And by the looks of it, we've got some pretty nice looking frictions in this thing. There's still assembly grease down in the lower reverse section of this transmission. So this thing has not been together very long, and it burned up super quick. I don't know if he didn't have it full, or if maybe he didn't have enough fluid in it, or maybe the pump's bad. We're not 100% sure. We're going to keep digging into this thing and go all over these parts one by one for you guys until we find this problem. So we've got the case completely apart. It's ready for straight to the washer. But look at these intermediate frictions, man. Brand new intermediate frictions, still has the label on them. These things haven't even been applied, it looks like. So that's definitely a win for us since we paid only $100 for this thing. The band looks like it was reused if they rebuilt it. This band looks like it's got pits in it, and this is not a good band at all. We're going to pull apart this lower planetary here, and look at those Borg Warner frictions. Those look absolutely brand new, man. I'm so tickled to death. Lower planetary is good. We're going to replace that bushing down there. This thing looks absolutely money. These frictions look brand new. You can still see the Borg Warner on them. I'll get a closer look on all this stuff in just a moment, guys. Man, what a total win. Check the center support out. Shake it. Sprag's amazing. That's good. Slide this back in there. Put it in the washer. This is freaking cool, man. What a win. All right, guys, let's buzz through this really quick. These seals are notorious for going bad, but this transmission seems to be a fresh rebuild. These seals are soft, and they still have the rigidity to them. They still have the spring back to them, whatever the word is. So those are honestly good seals, but the kits aren't too expensive. We're going to throw those away. Piston's good. This sun shell, we always go back and replace these bushings. The last person that went in here looks like they may have skimped out on replacing these bushings here. We're going to beat those out and put new ones in. Make sure you get your bearing off the bottom of your input shaft here. That's your parking gear. Now this bearing, this bushing here is notorious for going bad. So this thing looks like it's been chewed up. They normally include a plastic one in the kit. I always go back with the plastic one. This thing's been absolutely chewed up. It's kind of hard to see. And make sure you get your bearing off the bottom of your parking gear here. Now we got some marks on the journal here on the parking gear where it rides in the case. So I'm wondering if maybe somebody had that bushing crooked in there. That could be one of our problems where it got hot, maybe. And let's get a closer look at these frictions here. This is your intermediate clutch pack, and these look absolutely money, man. These are money. This is what stops the direct drum from spinning on that one-way clutch, and we'll get into that in a second. These look money. That's your intermediates. Here's your low reverse, and you can still see the Borg Warner really bright right there. The camera would pick it up. You can still see the Borg Warner on it there. That clutch pack looks super nice. Normally if they get too hot, you'll have some hot spots here on the steels. But these look really good. Those look really, really good. Now, here's your ring gear for your forward drum. It looks like we've got some clutch material here. It's also chewed up, this ring gear here. When the clutches go, it starts to chatter along and leaves little marks and valleys into this, so this is going to have to be discarded. This is a two-piece, so we could save this if we wanted to. This thing's making a lot of racket. I know a lot of you guys be like, well, that don't matter, it's okay. I don't like that noise, so we're going to discard that as well. Upper planetary was in good condition here. You want to check side to side, not necessarily up and down, but more or less the side-to-side action there. There's no give whatsoever. These things feel nice. That sound is just it riding on that carrier bearing there. When you flip it over, no noise whatsoever. So don't scare yourself. Now, let's get into these drums really quick. Knock my camera off, jeez. Now we're gonna pop this direct drum off the top here. And there is a bearing that it rides on there on the shaft. Pull that off. Now we're going to take our snap ring off the top here. This retainer holds our race and our one-way sprag. This thing's squeaking a little bit. That's a good sprag. You normally shake them if something pops out. Yeah, they're bad, but this seems to be a good sprag here. I like to put this retainer back on. It's followed by the snap ring just so I don't lose it. Let's flip this over. Here's our direct drum clutch pack. Pop that snap ring out. There's your pressure plate. Oh, wow. Now, somebody went back with a puny 3-clutch piston in this thing. What a joke. It's roasted that freaking direct drum. I bet this guy had some horsepower and he put it in there. Man, somebody who rebuilds these and puts a 3-clutch BPO piston back in that. That's a joke, man. I have to get on the foot press and press that out. Wow. Let's move on to our forward drum here. Flip this jewel over, see if we can get some light on that. It's black as night, boys. This thing is absolutely burnt to a crisp. Absolutely roasted here on the drum. We're gonna pop this off. This is our problem right here. Yep, just clobbered. Wow, that's just junk. All right, let's get into the cream of the crop here. Pull our gasket off. That's beautiful. And these got brand new rings on them, brand new white, brand new green stripe rings here. And I've already checked the in-play, so we're not going to have to go back with any kind of shim. We can just run that bearing right there as long as we use the same internal parts. Can't use that ring gear, but that's okay. Let's see if it was worth it or not. Pull this off. There's your springs. Pull them out, and then pull your piston out. Yeah, you can still see the grease right here, right along the edge, the assembly grease. And pump gap looks good. Looks like they went back with some brand new pump gears. The converter was seated all the way. That looks freaking solid right there, guys. Look at that. No extra groove. Or the converter rides, no chatter. Beautiful. Let's check this outer gear here. A lot of times you'll see these chewed up. That looks absolutely money. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That looks awesome. Gear body's in great shape. Bushing's in great shape. Couple surface scratches there. That's not going to be an issue. We can pull this seal off. And let's flip this stator over and see if it was worth it or not. And it looks like they went back with some 723 pump gears maybe. I'm going to have to put them on the dial caliper. We do have a significant scratch right there in the gear bot or in the pump stator. Not a lot though, not too bad. It's in pretty good shape. But unfortunately, we're definitely going to have to send that off to get cut. I just got a new shipment in on my shelf. So I've got some really nice pump stators with some new bushings in them already. So we're going to go back with that in this transmission. But overall, pretty good. And normally, $100 you get what you pay for. So I'll have to send that off and get that cut down. Won't be too expensive. But man, yeah, what a good tranny. None of the drum frictions can be reused. But the drums can be reused. They're not in terrible shape. I've got to go back with a 5-clutch piston for that direct drum. Gear body looks good. I've got some new pump stators over there on the shelf. I'm not too worried about that. Planetaries, sun shell, all that was really good in it. It had a updated pressure regulator spring in it, so that's a bonus. Yeah, I mean, totally worth the $100. After I send this off, get a kit for it and a converter, I'll probably have $375, maybe $400 in it, and then I'll put a hard race on it and might go back with a 36 element drum. At that point, you'll have about $700 in this thing. It'll be a $2,500 big boy street strip unit. So next video will be me building that stage 3 turbo 350, so you guys stay tuned. I have been under the weather a little bit here the last few days, so I'm feeling better and happy to be back in the shop making some content. So we'll see you guys next time. This has been another FSP transmissions video.